Hello everyone. I hope everyone had a good week. Had a good last week. Actually, this is in the middle of the week, and that's when I get my a little bit of time off because I work pretty much every day except for today. Um, this next video, this next YouTube, I like to call it YouTube. Again, I like to thank YouTube and all those people who listened and responded to my last YouTubes. Okay, so I'd like to thank them. Like I said, this one's going on a different level because you get to know a little bit more. Now I explained a little bit more about myself, so you pretty much have like the truth factor, nothing to do with the truth. But it has like a truth factor to where, you have to explain more about yourself in order to help other people and to show them that your story is unique or your story is truthful, and so that you can actually help individuals. If I kept a lot of things to myself, and I didn't want to reveal some things, then it would kind of weaken the YouTube. And now we're in an era where it's pretty much either you be truthful about yourself or you make up a lot of different personalities, and that's not like me. This week I'm going to talk about the blood issue. But because everything is so connected in my life and my time when I was with Jehovah's Witnesses, it's going to be very, I guess I can say, to me it's going to be very powerful, but only because everything connects and it's the truth about the things that happen. The reason why I do this is because hopefully my family members will wake up. I have one sister who I haven't spoken to maybe more than 30 years. A very nice person. However, the last thing I heard from her was being outside of the religion, you have like connections, and in order to get information you have to go through all these channels. Well, I have a brother who can go through the channels. I can't do that. But then I get some information, and the information I got, the last thing she said is, I love my family, but I love Jehovah more. So throughout her life and all this time we haven't spoken, she feels strongly that, well, Jehovah, her God, doesn't, which probably is true because I do believe that they're worshiping something else. She feels that her God doesn't want her to speak to her family. It's definitely not God, because everyone knows that God is not like that. For some reason, like I said, this power that they have, they can influence people to think that God, the true God, doesn't want her to speak to her brother. And what will we talk about? So those things are some of this is the most important reason why I'm doing this. Is I don't want to go through like funerals until for another 20 years until everybody's gone. So far that's when I see them is at the funerals, somebody's funeral. That's the only time we get together, which I think is really, really terrible. And so now I'm going to get into the blood issue, okay? However, I have to explain some things to you. Now you know some members of my family. However, I want to set up one thing, is that because if you view the other videos, the other YouTubes, I showed you, I explained to you my mother, I explained to you my ex-stepfather. He's my ex-stepfather now because my mother passed away. I explained to you my oldest sister, which is of another father, my oldest brother, which is of another father, and I also mentioned my sister, another sister. And because I know when you listen to things, and I can only say sister, I don't want to say names and stuff, I just want you to not think it's the same sister. So Like for instance, in the first one when I mentioned my sister, when I went back to the organization, when I went back to the Kingdom Hall, and I stated that my sister passed me with her son. I said I loved him so much, which is my nephew, and the same sister that came to my restaurant. I mean, she knew that she couldn't talk to me, but she tried to give me some kind of message by coming to my restaurant, not talking to me, but just coming to the restaurant with her friends. So that's my other sister, another older sister, but we have the same father and the same mother. So that's my full sister, okay? But I refrain from saying names and stuff, okay? So you know those people. So anyone else? So if I mention somebody else, I'll try and explain to you where they stand as far as the YouTubes that I did in the past. The blood issue is really, really a strong one that happened to me. I'm very surprised that my time in the Jehovah's Witnesses, I actually faced so many different issues, like the blood issue. I mean, you can actually go through your whole life as a Jehovah's Witness without actually facing the blood issue, okay? I also want to state, because this one is really sensitive, because I was married and talked about my marriage. I don't have any views about anything. I told you I'm Catholic. Everybody has their views, and I respect everybody's views. I'm Catholic, and I believe in everything that the Pope says, okay? However, the things that I disagree with, okay, like I do disagree with same-sex marriage, okay, but I'm not going to go over the Pope. My best thing to do is try to get him to understand. That's the organized way. That's the way that God likes things done in an organized fashion. And then because I know at some point in time he will get the message, and there will be same-sex marriage in the Catholic Church. But you have to do it in the right way. I definitely believe in doing it the right way, because people have to come up with understanding. So I'm on this blood issue as far as the Jehovah's Witness is concerned. And I do, like I said, I do hope so much that this actually wakes somebody up in my family, because we're in this cycle now to where we don't talk at all. I already went through like 30 years. I told you I have a sister who I haven't talked with in 30 years. I have a younger brother of the same mother, the full brother, same mother, same father, and I haven't spoken to him maybe like 30, 35 years, okay? And I hope this kind of wakes, hopefully this wakes. This is the only thing I could do. It's like the last straw, the only thing I can do. And I want to thank YouTube and you viewers also. So I'm sorry for lagging, but we're getting into this topic, which is a very strenuous, I guess I can say. That's the first thing that came to my mind. But okay, like I said, I was married. It wasn't really a marriage we really didn't love each other, okay? I mean, it definitely wasn't love at first sight, because I met her at one time, but I'm not going to go into that, but that's going to be another one, because it touches with the Jehovah's Witnesses and how they date and how they do things. But anyway, we ended up getting married. I remember I was leaving the truth, and it's going to connect to the other videos. It's going to connect to my other stories, because it's the truth of, I try and stick to the truth of what happened to me. So when I was leaving, and I stated in another video that I left home, and I started living with the pioneer, and he left, and he got married, and he was going to the Spanish congregation. I was going to the Spanish congregation also, because I wanted to learn Spanish. I've always studied Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás? And he left, so I was there alone in the apartment. When I left the apartment, when he left the apartment, I had some people or some friends that wanted to stay with me, but they were Jehovah's Witnesses, or they were studying, one friend. And he wanted to to kind of like encourage me, because I wasn't going to the meetings, but I had plans to not, like I said, not to continue with Jehovah's Witnesses, and that was like, I couldn't believe it. I just knew that I was going to get out. But this is where my wife comes in. And I can't explain the story, but it's probably be in another YouTube. But anyway, I got to the point to where when I'm almost leaving and clear of everything, I have my apartment, I have a job, and I'm ready to leave. But then a friend of mine intercepts me, okay? She comes to my restaurant where I was working with her friend, and her friend was my friend. With a car, of course I needed a car. I mean, I was like, wow, she's helping me out, driving me around, So she was very, very smart. And I ended up coming back to the Jehovah's Witnesses because I'm going to make this really short, and it's going to be part of other things. So I'm just going to say I ended up proposing to her, okay? But I also told her that I was heavily in the music industry, and that was on my mind, and I wanted a marriage to help, you know what I mean? Like, we work together, or she helps me or whatever, and she said nothing about what she wanted. And I'm sorry, but I have to say things truthfully because it's going to connect with other things. I'm sure that she had ulterior motive, I guess they would say. I would look it up on YouTube, on Google, but I think that's the right way to say it, because she wanted her papers, and I had no idea that she didn't have papers, and she was a Jehovah's Witness. So if she was such a Christian, she would have explained that to me. And so now, sticking with the story, so we get married, I tell her my truth. I mean, I was looking for something, honestly, I was looking for something to help me, okay? And she agreed with that. So I proposed to her, she said, okay, let's get married. I mean, she said yes, and we went ahead and got married. But like I was telling you, that was the basis of our marriage. She didn't tell me her ulterior motive. I told her what I wanted, okay? I did not say anything about Jehovah, and she understood that. I did not say anything about, I want to be a ministerial servant. I didn't say that I wanted to further my studies or go to Bethel or whatever, things like that. So we were basically friends. And the thing I liked about her was that she understood that I wasn't so into the Jehovah's Witness. And she was very good at being a Jehovah's Witness and sticking with me. I mean, sticking with my concept of what my life should be. Because I remember one time when, okay, I have to say this. Okay, I got really upset with her. And I thought it was best that I leave. So I left the house, and we started to walk, and I walked, and she followed me. And everything was all right. I just took a walk. So we were sitting on a bench, and I smoked, and she did not say anything. And she said, oh, give me one of those cigarettes. I said, no, you can't smoke. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say is that we were very good friends, and she understood me, and I understood her. And we both had our little just separate lives, I guess you can say. So that's important, and understand our way, understand what's going on. It's very important to understand this blood issue thing, okay? Okay, now my family, another reason why this has to do, because my family stuck with her, okay? There was points to when, like I told you, I left the organization altogether. But they stuck with her, and she actually told me a lot of times, because she was going to the meetings and fulfilling everything that she was supposed to do. So she was like a wife with a disfellowship, or at beginning, it was in the beginning, like during the blood issue, she was a wife where her husband wasn't really going to the meetings and being strong in the faith. And that's the time I'm talking about, was when I wasn't going to the meetings and she was going to the meetings, and she was strong with my family. So I'm not disfellowship yet. I'm pretty much on my way, trying to find a way out. But like I said, I was almost out, and she put me back in. But it wasn't really from my heart. So we were going to the meetings and things, which, I really didn't want to go to, but we went to the meetings and everything. But there was a time when she had to fulfill, like she would always work on like getting her papers, and I didn't understand. I was very gullible when I was young, definitely, very gullible. I mean, naive, gullible, or I guess you can say both at once. Because I remember even one time when we were going to the DMV, and she pulled out two IDs, and I asked her, why is this ID, And why you have two IDs? She had two birth dates. She used one birth date when we got married, and then when we got a divorce, she used another birth date. Things like that. I was the type of person or husband to her to where she knew that if she wanted me to do something or understand something, she would have to say, okay, sit down, okay? This is what and have to tell like the bold truth. This is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I'm doing, that is what I'm doing. That's the only way I could understand. I couldn't fill in the blanks. I filled in the blanks now, but it took a lot of age and a lot of experience to do that. So the reason why I'm saying that is because one time I came home, we lived in this apartment, okay? This apartment complex, and I got a note that your things have to be out. And I was like saying, well, like, why is this happening? She wasn't at home. So I went to the landlord in this apartment complex, and I go, why do we have to leave the apartment? And she goes, well, your wife said that you didn't want to live here anymore. I mean, I don't even think it fulfilled the contract. I'm not sure. But I said, well, why don't you just tell her? I mean, that's just her, it's not me. And she goes, I'm sorry, you both names are on the list, so you both have to leave. She wrote a letter telling the apartment complex that she did not want to live there anymore. She never, like I said, she never ever spoke to me about leaving the apartment complex, which was a very big decision, because it was hard for me to get another apartment because I'm breaking a lease or whatever, or I couldn't get an apartment. But she wanted us to move in with her friend, okay? Now, her friend is a Jehovah's Witness too. And I'm just going to say this really, really quickly because I want to go through this blood issue, and I don't want it to be as long. I know people don't like really long YouTubes. So we had to move with her friend, okay? And I had to. But like I said, because of the way I am, another part of me is like, when something happens to me, I just get off the bus or get on the bus or whatever I have to do. I don't fret. I complain to myself or complain to God, but I can adjust, okay? So I didn't really I got upset, but I didn't really get upset with her. I just, it was a marriage, 50%. Okay, she wanted to leave, so I went and we left. I put a lot of my stuff with my brother's house, in my apartment, in my brother's house in his basement, and we ended up living with her friend who was a Jehovah's Witness. Now, one short point I wanted to say is that one time she felt guilty, and she told me in order for me to marry her and her friend studied me. That's another YouTube. But anyway, we're in the apartment with her friend, okay? And we're living in the attic. They fixed it up as a bedroom, okay? And I remember the thing I told you about her studying me, she felt guilty at that point in the apartment because I think that she knew that it was a bad thing to do. And she told me that her and her friend studied me in order for her to get married. Like I said, it's another YouTube. But anyway, one morning I leave, I think I leave or something. I don't really know how it happened. But her friend called out the window, and it was a nice neighborhood. Her friend calls out the window and says, Jenny, oh, I'm sorry, I can't say the name. I'm not going to say the name. She says she's sick. She's sick. I have to take her to the hospital. You know, I think she was bleeding or something. Okay, things that she never explained to me about. So, but I didn't understand too much. But anyway, we ended up in the hospital, and I ended up going to see her and seeing what was going on. So I talked to the doctor and everything, and we got a doctor, or they got a doctor to do the up, because we pretty much didn't have any money. It's totally poor, like I'm used to. And we got a doctor, thank God, to do the operation. And she had to have an operation. And an anesthesiologist, which I found out is totally different from an operation. You have to have an operation, you have to have an anesthesiologist. And so anyway, we ended up in the hospital, and I knew we had a blood issue, which was no problem for me. The reason why I did the blood issue is because it's the only thing that I knew. So anyway, I knew I had to build up her blood. So I loved her. I mean, wasn't in love like you love someone, okay? Like you're in love, but you know, she's my friend, you know, and I showed her 100% love, plus my responsibility, because I like responsibility. And so the anesthesiologist talks to me, and he goes, well, you know, she needs blood or else she's gonna die. You know, this is gonna happen and that's gonna happen. I didn't have to talk to the doctor. He goes, she can go through the operation, but she has to come out of the operation, something like that. And I said, no blood. I didn't really say it because of Jehovah's Witness. I said it because it was something that I grew up with, no blood. But I remember saying no blood, but it was, and nothing could move me. Not just that, it's because of the way my life had been. I didn't know, but I know God does this for everybody, but I actually realized it. He was like taking care of me. I mean, I didn't know who he was, but I know outside, apart from the Jehovah's Witnesses, there was something that was very visible that was taking care of things that I wasn't taking care of, and I knew that. I mean, I could state one thing, like for instance, okay, I was writing I'm going to stay on this topic, but I want to explain to you why the no blood didn't fret me. I didn't really care. One time, I left to go visit my friend. We were going to New York. It was in the Spanish congregation. One of my best friends, beautiful friend. And I had a little motorcycle, maybe 450, Suzuki. It was a small one. At least that's what I remember. And then where I lived, they had a lot of rural area and a lot of trees, like when you're riding on the road. And I turned and I rode down this road, and I thought he wanted to pass me, but he didn't. And I don't know what issues he had, but I was riding my motorcycle and I had a helmet on, and I looked to the left and I could see his silhouette, and he was keeping up with my speed, and I was wondering, why isn't he passing me? Anyway, he took his car and like knocked my motorcycle, okay? And then he went off and wanted to see what happened. It was really, really gruesome, which I didn't really figure out until I got older. But anyway, I rolled. First, something told me to throw away my motorcycle. My motorcycle flew over to the side. And then I had this very nice helmet, which is another story. And I remember hitting my head one, I was counting, hitting it twice, hitting it twice, and then hitting it 3 times. My helmet, this is all happening within no more than 100 feet. I mean, it wasn't like a long stretch. I guess I can say 100 feet. Yeah, it happened in a very short distance, you know, all of this. And I rolled over and I was on my knees, and the only thing I had was a scratch, and nothing bugged me whatsoever. I mean, there was nothing wrong with me. And in actuality, I got somebody helped me. Some people came and they helped me The only thing they asked me, what's the matter? What happened? What can we do? And I said, only help me get my motorcycle back to start my motorcycle. They started my motorcycle and I went off to my friend's house. Nothing happened. Okay, so now going back to the story. So when they were talking about the blood issue, because I've had those experiences all the time to where pretty much God was taking care of me. I mean, and I know it's not just me, it's other people also who know that there's something that's helping them out. He helps everybody. So anyway, when they were talking about the blood issue, I go like, I wasn't thinking about that, just, God's going to do this and God's going to do that. I didn't say that I did that, but I could feel that there was going to be no problem. I mean, that gut feeling, I guess you can say, not that it was going to be no problem, but I could do this. It was like this. This is my choice, and I can do this. Plus, I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I did believe in them 100%. But I'm just saying that wasn't, because I told you I had a gut feeling. I had how can I say? I didn't call it a gut feeling, but I had the free spirit. I had the Jehovah's Witness that I believed in 100%, and then I was compelled to do certain things. And I guess there's another one to where I just do it, maybe like a gut feeling. But anyway, all those things came to whole. It made me strong to say no blood. And he kept talking to me about it, even in this room with this couch. And I didn't really feel like he could persuade me in any way. And I never, even though I cared about her very much, I mean, this was a person's life. I didn't get nervous. I didn't sweat about it, but it was like no blood. So the only reason why I wanted to express that was that my 100% reason for not getting blood was not that I was a Jehovah's Witness. Because first of all, I was coming out of the religion and I wasn't practicing it too much. And I didn't think that, oh no, because I'm not practicing Jehovah's Witness, this has happened to me. That was definitely not true. So anyway, we ended up having an operation, and I cared about her and loved her 100%. I mean, 100% as far as the only person that I had. I didn't have any other girlfriends on the side or boyfriends on the side or something like that. So she has the operation, and she's doing the operation, and I'm with her friend that I really know now. She wasn't really my friend, okay? And she was on my other side, and it wasn't like a prayer, but it was like, because like I said, although God was helping me, God was helping me in, like, I guess you could say, in secret. I mean, he was helping me, I can say, like, in secret, because I didn't know that he was there with me all the time. It was just something that was there all the time that I could feel very strongly. So much so that during the operation, I was like in the operation room. It was like so weird. And my sister came by with my best friend, and I remember because they were walking on the platform above and they could see the waiting room. And but they didn't understand the seriousness of it. I didn't really explain to them, I guess. They didn't really understand the seriousness of it. Because she's saying you just can't, wait around. I mean, this is the sister, my full sister, that I talked to you about. And, because I only have one full sister. And she wanted me to just relax and, go with them. That's how they felt that would help me feel better. But I said, no, I have to be here, because I knew that I had to concentrate until she got out of the operating room. But like I said, it was like I was in the operating room. I mean, I had so much strength in this, I guess, God that was with me, but I didn't know it was God. And it was like I was there, just there, just like that. And then all of a sudden the anesthesiologist came out. He goes, she's right, it's a miracle, okay? And listen to that, because the Jehovah Witnesses kind of think it was their miracle. But when he said that, I didn't even think about the Jehovah Witnesses. I just knew that this thing that was following me, or this thing, this power that was helping me, that's what it was. Okay. So anyway, when the anesthesiologist came out, I went over to the room, the actual operating room, and she was coming out of the operating room, and I looked at her, and I took my hand by her face, and she threw up in my hand, but I didn't even care. That's how much I cared about this person. It wasn't like a wife that I loved, but I loved her as a friend. And she threw up all over my hand. I didn't even care. I just was happy that she was all right. And then I took her. We went to the ICU, intensive care unit, and I made sure she was all right. And I told the nurse, like if she has slobber on her face, make sure they wipe it and everything. So I did 100% whatever I could do. Now, my ex-stepfather, or he was my stepfather back then, he took it as a Jehovah Witness thing. And he went to the congregation and said, oh, Jehovah did this and Jehovah did that. And he's the one that saved the no blood and all this and all this. He did all of this without interviewing me. He didn't interview me. He didn't say, what happened? How did you feel about this? How did you feel about that? Because I definitely didn't think it was their Jehovah Witness God. Okay? And because after that, I stuck with the power that was with me, not the Jehovah Witness concept or whatever. Okay? So, like I said, he used that to lie to the people, to lie to the Jehovah Witnesses about my stand, because my stand was not with them. And after that happened, I knew I wanted to leave the Jehovah Witnesses, because I was there in the waiting room and I knew who I put my faith in. And not that I even put my faith in, God, I guess he knew something about my faith, but I didn't know who he was, but I knew that he was helping me. So they can't really say that their blood issue is right or wrong, okay? I mean, in some instances, yes, I can say it may be right, but in a lot of other instances, it's not. But it's got to be up to the person, and you got to listen to the facts and everything, okay? And I didn't listen to the facts because I didn't understand. The only thing I knew was the fact that was what they had taught me, okay? And if it occurred to me again now of the information, I would have to really understand what was going on and what my options were, okay? Okay, but what I'm trying to say, they have a blind faith for something that they don't even understand. I mean, for something that is not even God's will. So I got to stop it there. I mean, I want to go on more, but that's the blood issue. And I usually say something afterwards. Like I said, I mean, I know our marriage wasn't, also my stepfather married us, and he didn't interview us at all either. I have to say this about my marriage. It wasn't really a marriage of love, like I said. We did our own thing, okay? And I have to say this because I don't know what's gonna happen when certain people see this or whatever. But I want to state that when we were married, she understood how I was, and I understood how she was, okay? I mentioned my mother a lot. My mother understood some things about me that I didn't understand about me, okay? But when I was married, my wife understood these things about me. I hate to say it, but you have to say it. You know, it's like I'm attracted. I grew up being attracted to males, being attracted to men, which is hard to say, because of the way society is. But it's the truth, and I pretty much have to stick with it because that's God's will. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this tape. But I have to say how my marriage was too. I remember when my wife took me to a funeral, and she said it was a funeral with her two sisters. And when we went to the funeral with her two sisters, I said Jenny, and I was gullible, and I didn't understand a lot of things. I said Jenny, oh, I'm sorry, I'm saying her name, but it's no big deal. These are not sisters. These ladies are, I mean, they're in love with each other. I mean, they're married, but they're two ladies. And she finally told me the truth, but she thought I was that gullible. And she said she lived with them when she first came here, okay? So that was one. And another thing, the reason why I'm saying this is because I don't want someone to think that I did her so wrong, or she did me so wrong, but it was both of us, okay? And I remember one time I went to a bar where I was supposed to meet her at a bar, and she was dancing with another guy, which I pretty much follow responsibility first. I don't care what I want or what I'm attracted to or whatever, but I am attracted, well, I'm not going to go into more specifics, but she was dancing with this other guy, which I don't think was right because we were in a relationship, and do it in secret, you know, not in front of my face. So we left, and she left with a girlfriend and this guy. And she wanted me to go with this guy, and she was going with this girlfriend. And I said no also because, like I said, I mean, we had this relationship, but it wasn't supposed to be done in front of the face. You understand? But that's one reason why we got along together, was the fact that we both had this understanding, okay? And like I said, it's 50%. It was the reason why, there's so many reasons why the relationship didn't work. But I was definitely into the relationship as a responsibility. She got a divorce right after she got her papers, which I would have never done. I would have stayed married, okay? And we did have an opportunity to have a child, but that was another story. This was a hard YouTube, but I did it anyway. And I want to thank the viewers, and I'll go on. Now I want to keep them short because people don't really like long videos. Not that they like, but I have to get the message across about the things that happened to me. And like I said, the reason why I'm doing it is because I know it's God's will, and I would never expose anything unless I knew it was God's will. And I can even feel it now saying a prayer, and that's what He wants. So that's it. Thank you all, and I hope you enjoy and get something out of it to help yourselves or help somebody from this video. And like I said, my major thing is to wake my family up. Thank you very much.